Welcome back to AM Northwest. Having trouble making decisions this year? Well, an ancient Chinese custom may hold the answers for you. Here to explain, please welcome the author of the Visionary I Ching and the founder of Tarot.com, entrepreneur Paul O'Brien. Paul, nice to have you here.
Paul.
What is I Ching?
The I Ching is the world's oldest book, but it's far more than a book. It's a divination system. And a divination system, quite simply, is a way to stimulate your intuition around problems that logic can't handle in order to think outside the box. And we have a lot of problems like that. Relationships, negotiations, business ideas, creative ideas, timing issues. There's a lot of issues in life that require intuition. So anything we can do to stimulate the intuition is a positive thing.
Is this like a tarot card kind of reading, or?
Well, it's similar. It's the Chinese version of tarot cards.
Okay.
But like I said, it's the oldest book in the world. It was studied by Carl Jung, the great psychoanalyst, for 30 years in order to define what he called the synchronicity principle, which is how it works. So everything that happens at a moment in time is related to everything else. And when you and I did that reading earlier before the show, the way the coins landed is related to what you were focused on. Remember, I asked you to meditate.
Right.
And so that turns up, and it's kind of related to the idea that there are no accidents.
So, and we're going to get to Helen's reading because this, I can't wait to hear. But you use coins, and is it a series of tosses? What do the coins tell you?
Yeah, basically coins are one way to do it. There's a number of ways to do it. Coins have proven to be the easiest, most convenient one, and you just get 3 coins. We used pennies. Copper coins are kind of good. You hold the coins while you're thinking about whatever's on your mind, and you cast the coins 6 times, and you record the lines that you get. And there's 4 different ways 3 coins can land, and you record that line. I did that for you. And then we look it up in this ancient book, which I have rewritten and just now published as an e-book.
And you rewrote it to get it, why?
Well, it's 4,000 years old,
Yeah, okay.
and it comes out of a very patriarchal culture, and it has a lot of references to the superior man, to armies marching to the southwest, arcane things that weren't really relevant. And even though I've been using it since I was a teenager in college, I had to read between the lines and interpret it for modern times, and I thought, I was so inspired by it that I sort of dedicated my life to studying this, and it's been some decades now, and I wanted to create a version that's more useful for people in the modern times.
And what kind of questions do you ask it when you're working with is it a yes or no question?
Well, you want to ask it the kind of question that it's designed for. Just like you wouldn't ask a plumber for investment advice or for auto mechanic advice, you don't ask the I Ching, what's the weather going to be like tomorrow, or where should I go to lunch, or what's the meaning of life. It's designed to answer questions that are looking for insight or advice. And it will give a sense of a predictive sense of things, but it's not about fortune telling. And this is a big misunderstanding because these tools like tarot cards and the I Ching have been appropriated by psychics and gypsies, but that's not really what they're for.
Must you go to somebody who's expert in this to get the answer, or can anybody teach themselves to toss the coins and get the answer?
The beauty of the I Ching is that people can do it by themselves, and in fact, that's what I've dedicated my life to, is helping people have an easier job of doing that. That's why we've come out with the Visionary I Ching ebook and the website divination.com, which is basically a nonprofit that teaches people how to take advantage of these things on their own, so that you're not dependent upon a psychic or a third-party intermediary, so that you can stimulate your own intuition and develop those parts of yourself that are psychic.
Okay, so we did this before the show, and you had me toss the 3 pennies 6 times, and I had in the back of my mind, or I meditated about my side business and whether I should continue it or not, and the outlook for it if I do.
These are your greeting cards.
My greeting cards are my art, yeah. So, and then your reading was really interesting, I thought.
Well, I'd say you got a very positive reading, Helen, and one of the great things about the I Ching is it doesn't always give you a warm fuzzy. This is not a warm fuzzy system. This is a system to reflect reality. I asked you to commit yourself to being open-minded about getting a true answer, whether it was the one you wanted to hear or not.
Right.
You know, I assume that you did that, but you ended up getting a very positive reading. You got hexagram number 19. There's 64 of these things. You got 19, which is the approach of spring, which is about the beginning of something new and the growing of something that's just starting. It's a very, very positive reading. But you had two changing lines, which indicate that in that situation is not static. There's a lot of dynamic change in the works here. And those two changing lines are usually what give you the most specific advice. And you got line number 1, which is about go for it. If others gather around this, if you can get support for this, go for it. That was the gist of it. And then you got line number 6, which is, and if you go for it, make sure that you get a mentor or an advisor who's not a friend, who's not somebody who's going to tell you what you want to hear.
Right, which makes perfect sense.
Well, it was
Yeah.
a very positive reading.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have got breaking apart, you could have got standstill, you could have got a lot of discouraging things.
How does the person holding the coins and tossing them reveal the answer? Is it an energy from the person to the coins, and the coins react to that energy?
Well, the synchronicity principle states that everything in a given situation is related to everything else. Things are related in time, not just in space. So what happens at a particular moment in time is related to everything else happening in time. The book was written by the ancient sages. Nobody really knows. This stuff, it goes back a long ways. But the book was written to reflect a pattern that you create by casting coins at a moment in time, and that that reading is related to whatever you're focused on, presuming you have the ability to focus, at the time that you cast the coin. So it's related to the old expression, there are no accidents. Everything
Right.
happens for a reason. So there's this energetic connection that's basically all about timing.
Very good.
Oh,
All right.
interesting.
And we'll have more information, too, on our website, and more information about the book as well in the ebook. Thank
The
you for coming in
Visionary
today.
I Ching. Thank
You know, I want to give a free book to anybody who's watching today. All they have to do is go to divination.com/free book.
Very good.
And that we're going to continue that until the Chinese New Year.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Come